Welcome to Gardening in the Mountains presents Table Wreath Centerpieces using seasonal plants. I'd like to introduce our speaker, Cynthia Gillooly, Floral Designer at BB Barnes Garden Center. Cynthia brings many years of both personal and professional experience. She's a talented gardener, designer, teacher, and speaker in all things related gardening and flower arranging. And as you'll see, she has an incredible passion and contagious enthusiasm for sharing what she knows and making it fun. Thank you, Cynthia.
And I want to thank all the Buncombe County Master Gardeners for letting me do something that I am really passionate about. It's a very favorite thing to do in a seminar, so let's have fun. So the whole focus of today is how you can make an arrangement, a vignette, if you will, to continue to transform from now all the way through to the holidays, if you like. And the best thing about it is it's effortless and easy, and you can keep transforming it, layering it. So let's get started. So here we are, and all you master gardeners are so knowledgeable and fabulous. And of course, I want to focus on all these things that I just cut yesterday out of the BB Barnes grounds with a few things coming from my home. So I started with just a basic, I believe it's a 20-inch grapevine base. And the beauty of doing this is because it's sitting on the table, you don't have to glue anything or attach anything. It makes it really easy to do this. Since we're in the mountains, I think we should start with Magnolia. We're all Southern girls at heart. And I love the glossiness of this. So when I'm doing this, we're using things, many things will dry naturally, and in time will show wear and tear like the Magnolia. If it's something that is more precious, we're going to show how you can put it in a water tube and incorporate it into your design. So I'm starting, and I'm just going to place the Magnolia all the way around the base. Once again, I really appreciate the fact that I don't have to glue anything in. And of course, if you're using things like Magnolia and you've had it in for a few weeks and you're having an event or people over, you can always easily pull these pieces out and refresh with new. So I believe this is Little Gem, and I love the size of that leaf. When I was cutting yesterday, look what I found. Oh my gosh, a bloom. It wasn't even supposed to be blooming now, and I was hoping it might show off for you today, but I'm still going to stick it in there since I sacrificed it. There we go. So with this project, you're only limited by your imagination, and being at BB Barnes, wow, I always have so many choices. That becomes the dilemma. Let's put a little bit more Magnolia in here. And then let's start. Normally, I would have fresh cut hydrangeas. I had already used these, so they're a little bit dry, but they are limelight. And surely all of you have limelight in your garden, and if you don't, you need to hurry down and get one. It is the most fabulous for cutting, for drying, hands down, can't be beat. It does get quite large, so if space is an issue, we also offer one called Little Lime, which could be perfect for your landscape. And at this time of the year, they're ready to cut. Don't wait too long, because if they get that frost or cool weather, really cold weather, they'll turn brown. Because we still use them, I take gold paint and I lightly tip them and spray them as needed, and then use them. We just did one of our Christmas trees, and we have lots of limelight that turned brown that is now a lustrous gold that is in the top of the tree, and it looks great. So, okay, I know I'm already going out on a limb to say, sometimes we've got the natural Magnolia here, and I will put in another one of my favorite things that gives texture. It's the Vitex, John. This is Vitex, isn't it? With the beautiful purple flowers. A few years ago, I discovered how much I adore the leftover pods, the seed pod, because it gives so much texture. And the more the sun gets to them, they can get a really pretty sort of pinkish burgundy hue. When I'm doing this wreath, I always want people to remember you're looking down upon it. Remember that your sides are very important, because people will probably be seated at your table And the side, as you see, I'm inserting this on the side, becomes a very important part of your perspective. So going along also, let's put a few more greens in, and then I'm going to start putting in some focal points. So it's fall, y'all, and everybody likes orange except for me. As I grow older, I'm starting to find a place in my heart for it, but it's not automatically the color that I turn to for fall. And I think I'm going to show you in a minute how you don't have to use orange, but we will start traditionally because that's what people's expectations are. So let's stick in these hydrangeas, and I meant to cut some fresh ones from my yard this morning and forgot. So I'm just going to put these in. Of course, aren't we so blessed to live in a part of the country where we have a plethora of fabulous hydrangeas to choose from. So my very personal favorite is Limelight, but besides that, I have a Snowflake, which is a double of the Quercifolia oak leaves. It is unbelievable. I had panicles on it that were way over a foot long and just stunning. So if you don't have that, start lusting after it because you should have one.
Hey, Cynthia.
So here, I'm just inserting these. Yes, Allison?
Somebody has asked about the stem length. How much stem length should they have in order to insert things so they stay in place?
That's a good question. I'd say probably give yourself 4 to 6 inches. And as I always used to say at my flower shop, you can always cut it shorter, but you can't make it longer. So start with about a 6-inch. Let me hold up this, which of all the things I found, I'm so excited about this. This was in the grounds of BB Barnes, and we all found it the other day when we were trying to find a spot to shoot this. And I didn't know what it is, but Allison, in her knowledgeable context, gave me the information. It's called Seven Suns tree. Heptacodium is the botanical name. And what we are seeing, these lovely pink panicles, are what's left after the white flower blooms. Allison also tells me that it has an exfoliating bark, so quite a lovely tree. I think the one we saw was probably, I don't know, maybe 20 feet tall. Oh my God, here I am doing what I said I wouldn't do, not using orange, but I want to put these in there. And I think that they're going to dry just like this. I don't think we're going to have to do anything. And gosh, are they beautiful. So I just love that. And when we talk about color, let me hold up them so you can see. So there it is. I'm stripping off all the leaves, probably right about there, 4 to 6. And the other thing to say, because you're not hanging it up, you don't really have to worry about things falling out. They're going to stay where you put them.
Cynthia?
Yes, Allison?
So 2 things. Did the wreath come wrapped with a vine, or it's the vine itself? Is that correct? And also, do you need to condition these plants to keep them lasting long?
2 excellent questions. The first question, this is just a grapevine wreath I bought from a local craft store. So it is grapevine, but it was just, I just grabbed it right off the shelf. And that's where you get the best price on those places like, you know, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, whatever. As far as conditioning your flowers, for sure, that makes a difference. I cut all these last night with the exception of a few things so that they could drink. And I, of course, those of you who do flower arranging and cut materials, you know, either cut in the morning or at the end of the day. They appreciate nice warm water. It helps them draw the water up more quickly when the temperature is warmer. And it's also a good way to revive things that have really I have had many a stressful moment in my flower shop where flowers that were intended for a wedding or some auspicious event wilted, but I've been able to resuscitate, actually putting them in as hot of water as my hands could possibly. I've had amazing luck and good fortune at revitalizing something. So that's always a trick. So yeah, that's 2 good questions. So let's just keep on adding things as we go. There's so much on this table. I'm hoping you're able to discern what we've got here. So we're going to put that all the way around somewhat. And John, I wonder, should I turn this as we work or just keep it in this one location? Probably okay to just keep it. Okay. So generally when I'm inserting a material, I insert it all the way around, paying attention to the balance. And that's what I'm looking for. So I already think it's starting to look somewhat yummy. Put that on the side. So since it's fall, I know you guys want to see orange. Okay, I'm going to do it. But I'm cheating a little bit, and I just wanted to show you. This is an artificial berry because, as John said earlier, there's no way we're going to have that horrible invasive bittersweet in our world. But watch what happens when I put these in there. Again, if I was using this in the wreath, I'd probably cut the stems shorter, but I've actually got them sold to someone after this demo. So I'm going to keep them just they are. But all of a sudden, when I start winding that in, I think it looks great. And I don't think that most of you would have known that that was artificial, tipped you off to it beforehand. So I'm working the orange with the pink. And you know, that's really not my favorite color combo. And I've always said that. But then one day I realized, who am I to judge? Because God puts the sweet pea and the orange daylily together, blooming at the same time. He knows more than I do. But what makes me appreciate the color combo of the orange with the pink is when I'm able to insert a little purple. All of a sudden, my eye becomes happy. This is the Verbena bonarensis, very free-seeding annual that acts like a perennial. And it's fun. I like it. You don't have to do a thing with it. So here's my other berries. Keep going all the way around with those. And also, normally when I'm placing a material, I want to follow a flow. So they're moving this way. So coming back to this, or it's also going to move in the same direction. So the best thing about this is we're making something beautiful that we can keep changing, but it also becomes a focal point for something yummy in the middle. And what is that thing? Well, in a second, we'll start with a grouping of pumpkins. We'll get our last one in. Yes, Allison.
Hey, Cynthia, what was the name of the purple annual?
That's the Verbena bonarensis, I believe it's called. It grows quite tall. It is an annual, but it's very free-seeding. And it's like, it reminds me of a statice. Would you like me to hold it up, John? So here's how we're going with it. And you can see the all-around placement. And of course, I'll continue to fine-tune, inserting any material that I've put in, I want to insert all the way around. But before I get too full, I want to put something magical in there. And one of my very favorite, and maybe almost a signature thing, is a hornet's nest. It's an unexpected light. Adds a lovely bit of texture. My sweet son just got these for me this morning. I said, Max, can you run and get me a few hornet's nests for my presentation? Because to me, that's what makes something really fun and special. So I put a couple of those in there. Here's another one. I don't have any, because unless you have a very mischievous cat or a toddler, it should probably be left alone. So I put in those, you know, and you're only limited by your imagination here. If you've got a bird thing, you can put in birds. Lord knows what you might want to put there that you have, that you find delight and interest in. I'm getting to more orange. So what about all these fun gourds and pumpkins? I'm going to put the big fat one in the middle, but what if you want to incorporate that right into the design? What I've done is I've taken some of them and I just poked a hole with some scissors. And then I took it's actually a wooden orchid stake, and stuck it in there. And probably I did at least 3 inches. You might have done it a little bit more, because then I can actually bring the gourd or pumpkin into the design. That's pretty fun. Now, once you puncture them like that, they're on their way out. So do be careful, pay attention to them so that they don't start getting yucky, as they will. So that's a fun way to get them in there. But if you have something that's got this lovely shape, it can work for you just like that. That was the easy way out. I love these curved ones just for that reason. Will that work? Oh my goodness, that's fun. So here we are. We've got this going on. I love bird's nests. And this is a real bird's nest that someone brought to me here at BB Barnes, and the eggs are still in it. So what a treasure. And I definitely am going to insert this into the design. I could put it by the bird, or I could put it over here. Maybe not quite so close to that, but I just want y'all to see how beautiful that is. So fun. Mother Nature. Let's keep on going for a minute, and then we're going to play with the middle. These are okra pods that someone brought me from their garden, and I was like, wow, I love these. They're one of my very favorite things. And even though I don't want to eat okra, I would consider growing it just so I could have these fabulous pods. Again, if I'm starting somewhere, I should flow all the way around to make sense of things. And I want to keep them all sort of moving in the same, well, that's an ugly one, sort of moving in the same direction. I love how they give height to the composition. While I'm doing this, another one of my favorite shrubs, I love Belia. I love it. I think it's just one of the most charming things when it's blooming. And when I had my flower shop and did wedding bouquets, many times Abelia to me was the final crowning magical touch. So I love it. It holds up really well, even in Oasis, and just another charming texture. Now this is going to wilt a little bit. So probably if you were using that, you might want to go to your water tubes. And we'll talk about the water tubes here in just a second. So let's say you're having company. Let's say you've done this really fun thing and it looks really great. And you think, I'm going to kick it up a notch. Well, let's see. Here are some adorable dahlias I found in the BB Barnes grounds yesterday. I've just put it in a water tube. And that way, it's going to stay fresh until your company is gone. I think the water kind of went out of that this morning, but it could be anything fresh that you wanted to put in there to make it special for that day. I'm cheating because I can't find the other water tubes, but you would put it in a water tube. So everyone's yard, all you master gardeners, I know when you walk around your yard, you can envision all the things you could cut. Interesting pods, seed heads. I'm blessed to have some wonderful pine woods on our property that grows some of the most beautiful mosses I've ever seen. And I'm having a really crazy busy week because we're decorating for Christmas, my apology. And I wanted to go up there and root around and bring some of my own mosses, but time did not permit. So I'm using, this is Reindeer Moss. It's real reindeer moss, but it has been treated to give it that fabulous color. It's pretty fun. And I like how it pops in the arrangement. So we could keep going. We could just go on and on and on and on. But first, I want to put something inside so you can see what I'm talking about when I say that we transform it again and again and again. More of the Styrex. I also want to show this to you real quick. I don't know if you all know Jewel of Opar. It's a very exuberant annual. And God was on a roll that day again because he put pink and orange together again. These are the seed heads flower, if you will. It's got a bright chartreuse, succulent, fleshy leaf. Put it in your garden. You better like it because it's going to come back every single year. And I adore it. And for me, putting those in an arrangement, it's whimsical. They're like Dr. Seuss to me. And when I saw some this morning, I thought, oh, you should bring some Jewel of Opar so people can see it. And you know, if they pop up where you don't want them, jig them up and give them to unsuspecting friends, right? That's what gardeners do. So look at that, how that little, is that magic or what? They're just so, ooh, they're fun. And they will probably dry just like that in there too. And girls experiment, you know, it's either gonna stay in there nicely or dry unattractively, in which case you're just going to pull it out and have fun with something else. So we put in the birds. We've got some okra pods. There's a bird's nest, definitely the hornet's nest. Maybe we will have one sitting up on the nest going, hey, don't mess with my eggs, I mean it. Okay, Mom. So, oh, one of our fellows that works here, Marshall, gets to go hunting somewhere far away. And he is kind enough to bring me back these pheasant feathers every time he goes. So watch what happens when I put those in there. Again, following the same line and movement. I'm inserting these, and gosh, that's just pure lovely fun texture. And I hope at this moment, you know what I can now, I can think of all the things I can put in my wreath, things that are special to you. And really, is this easy or what, girls? I'm not even breaking a sweat sticking this stuff in here. It's just fun, 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 fun. And I can change my mind. I can walk away and go have lunch and come back and look at it and go, needs more orange. So it's constant renewal of your creativity to just keep getting to play with this. So let's get to the pumpkin. Come on, Big Daddy. I like that color. It's not quite as orangey. That's, you know, that's the typical thing to do. You could just kind of group all these up. And if you wanted more height on the smaller ones around, you could take styrofoam and cut it to get your depth up so that you have a pleasing palette of heights and depths. So that could be fun. But let's say, oh, and then one other thing I want to show you, you know, I don't believe in ribbon in everything. I think ribbon is an overused commodity in many flower shops or just in general in design, but the right ribbon is delicious. Look at this double-faced satin. Oh my goodness, that is gorgeous. What if I took just a little bit of that and literally tickled it around here? I'm not turning it into a big deal, and I don't want it to steal the show. I just want it to give you a little bit more texture. And again, I could use this for a moment in time. Let's say I'm having a luncheon for the girls and I'm trying to kick it up a notch. And I can take it right back out. Nothing is attached. And once again, I just love how adding every single thing changes the whole vibe of the composition. Let's get this pumpkin out of here. Although we do have great pumpkins. In fact, I think they're on sale. But what if I didn't want pumpkins in there? Look at this fella. He's really handsome. And you may have some piece at your house that is just a treasured knickknack that you think, I'm going to let the star of the show. He certainly makes a nice appearance in there. And when you're finished with him, or if you have something else going on, you could always add something like a stunning candle holder. I've also got some berries stuck on this just to show off. Could be a grouping of candles. So it's a constant, as I said, a constant renewal. I mean, you can leave it just like the day you did it, but for me, I just find that people have so much fun transforming it over and over and over again. So let's say, because you're a real serious master gardener, you want it all to be real, all to be fresh. The first thing that people would probably think of is a mum. Now, I don't mean to sound arrogant, but I don't really like mums or have much respect for them because they're just a ball of flowers. I mean, I know that they serve a purpose on the planet, but and I'm sure that looks lovely. And for some of you, that may be just the perfect thing. You love that yellow mum, but bam, it's done. If you want to cover your tracks a little bit, you can always use Spanish moss or some other moss because you don't want to see that plastic pot. So you can do that. And that's pretty. It's a mum. But you could also get a little bit more innovative and creative and use some other plants. This is a new mustard. Oh my gosh, is that not beautiful? Look at that green stem. That's delicious. I love it. And if I were doing this for a party, I might try to take them out of their pots and put them in baggies, just, you know, storage bags, freezer bags, so that I could get a better composition and move things in and out the right way. And then after this, you savvy shoppers, you can put all this delicious material right into your garden. Love the autumn fern. I love how that picks up the orange on that. And see, I tipped that pot. So if you did take your plants out of your pot, you'd be able to get a better composition. Love that. Ascot's rainbow, my favorite. Euphorbia, pretty tough cookie. Love it. And of course, the world of heucheras. My goodness, so many beautiful ones to choose from. Well, the fun of this is that all this plant material can go right into your garden containers, whatever you wish. So you're really getting some extra mileage from it. One plant that I want to say I have developed so much respect for that I didn't was the snapdragons. I took some of these little ones home straight from the dumpster, planted them this past fall. They gave me the most magnificent show that I've ever seen. They were just stunning, huge clumps. I used the yellow one with that little red blush and I was astounded. So never again will I not put snapdragons in the fall. So if it were things like this, and let's say you are having that dinner party, you can just tuck them in like that. No one's gonna know what you did. It's gonna look great. And here I am doing that orange and pink thing again. But as I said, if God did it, I guess it's good enough for me. I love this beauty berry. But you know what is such a hassle? You have to stand there and patiently pick every one of these leaves off. But are they worth it? Yeah, they're worth it. That color is unbelievable. And so in a patient way, after doing that, this is also going to add just a whole nother burst of color. Also, color, this is not lacking, is it?
Cynthia?
Great, but yes, dear.
Speaking of color, there was a question early on. You used some orange berries and you mentioned bittersweet. Is that what you have in there, or did it just look like bittersweet?
It just looks like bittersweet. It's a fabulous artificial berry, and I wish I had hundreds more of those stems because I can't keep them in stock. They're sold out for the season. So we don't sell bittersweet here, and I think all of you all feel this or know the same thing, that it's a terrible invasive, and so we don't carry it. So that's why I was so thrilled to have something like this to put in there. And my point of it being that once you've got all this natural, yummy stuff in there, the only one that knows it's artificial is really you. And I'm going to show you something else in a tricky sort of way in a minute. That berry also comes in two other colors. And I vacillated whether to even do the orange. I just wanted to be a renegade and not do orange. This is the same berry in that delicious green color, which you could have used that one too. And then I also have it in a red. Let's say that I was going to switch this to a holiday piece. I would take out the orange berry and I could put in this red berry and create magic. And then start to do different things with that too. So I'm going to take this part out again so we can get back to the base of the wreath. And focusing again on the fact that maybe you're going to leave your base. You made your base, you love it. It's just perfect. Everything, it suits your dining room, your home, your whatever. And you may just want to play around with the center. Like I said, if you're having a special moment of some gals over or dinner party, garden party, whatever, you may want to like do a festive grouping of candles or something like that. So it sure is a fun thing to do. Some other things I picked, since I sacrificed them by cutting, sometimes you can look at things in your garden and see them in a different way, and almost as much for texture as anything else. This is just one of the cedars. I'm not sure I know which one it is. It might be Autumn Joy. Once again, I love how that color mimics the color of the Seven Suns tree. And every single thing you put in there just get more and more texture as you go along. Of course, these are already dried, so you don't have to fuss with them either. Come on out, kids. Now, let's say that you love this so much. You've done it. It's given you so much joy, and Thanksgiving's over. I could show you how to turn this into a Christmas wreath. Do you want to try to do it real quick and see what happens? Okay, so the first thing I would do, okay, I'm like, okay, giving thanks, time to get ready for the season. The first thing I would do is take out these berries and the pumpkins. Come on, guys. There we go. So I'm just going to tickle these out. You know, your hydrangeas will have dried. So you just want to be a little bit careful because they can get a little brittle. If you have hydrangeas like limelight and you cut them, a great way to keep them holding up better is you could just use hairspray and spray them. It gives them, just holds them in place more. Or you can get a clear lacquer just at Ace or one of the hardware places that make it a little bit shiny, but it will increase their longevity. So let's take these out.
Cynthia,
yes, dear. Yes, ma'am.
Do you put woody plants in water tubes? Somebody was asking about the beautyberry, if it would last longer.
I think once you take the leaves off the beautyberry, it's going to dry and be just fine. When you're conditioning any woody material, you want it, of course, back to the warm water, cutting either early in the morning, late in the day, pounding the stem with a hammer, just a little bit, opens up all that tissue and the plant will drink better. And once again, it's an experiment. You know, like, you know that the magnolia is going to look good. I think I did this a few weeks ago and the magnolia looked really good for about a week and a half. And even when it dried, it looked good. It was just more subdued, but it still looked good. So I think that's a fun part of the experimentation. But if it's something, again, the water tubes are very valuable. And this is what they look like, and you get them at craft stores. So if it's something like a dahlia or sunflower that you know is not going to hold up, you can use a water tube. The flowers usually suck up so much water. You've got to put fresh water in that tube every single day. It's amazing. Water is the life force. Now that I have orange out, goodbye, orange. Orange. Okay, so let's say, oh, my little treasure nest. I dropped it. Come to mama. Egg rescue mission. I got it. I bet some of you know what kind of nest this is. It may be a little wren nest. I'm not sure. Let me put that over here safely. And I know this is somewhat unceremonious, but there, now we can see better, can't we, John? Okay, that was better. So let's transform this again. Oh, wait a minute. I've got to trick you one more time, girls. I don't know if you're going to like this or not, but I buy all the artificial floral here, and I have to show off. Will you forgive me in advance? Okay. I know there's nothing like the real thing. And now that we've taken out the orange, I want to show you another grouping that you can do for seasonal with fresh stuff that isn't orange, but it's still got that fall flavor because we've got the feathers and the just fallish, yummy material that's giving us that vibe. Here's a little white mom. Come on in here, you little chubby. I could see, you know, you could definitely get busy there with all that, but you guys, those aren't real. But I think they are amazingly, unbelievably realistic looking. Everything else is real. I carry this one in white, and I have several gals who have several of these in white. and they use them in their party decorations when they're having events, or they'll get all their natural ivies and real ferns and stuff and stick in those cyclamens. I'm just saying. Okay, thanks for letting me get away with that. But real quick, I just want to show you a little more transformation on the base of the wreath. So I hope you guys realize, look how fun and easy this is. I mean, this is pure play. This isn't work, and it's just, I think it's a way to unleash your creativity and just, again, play, play, play. I like how this red looks with these pinks. I find a certain richness of shades and tones there. Oh, that is so pretty. I like it. And once again, I'm not going to tell if you don't tell, okay, that these aren't real. We can keep a secret. And again, remembering that the side, John's getting the front of this. So you can see how important it is to have plant material that's sort of dripping off the edges while you work. Get back in here. When I would look at this wreath, if I was at someone's house, I would say, gosh, what a beautiful natural textural composition this is. This is befitting our mountain environment and diversity and just everything we love about where we live. But that doesn't mean that you can't continue to take a piece like this and layer it. Now I'm going to go a little over the top here, okay? So bear with me. So let's say it's Christmas. And in your dining room, you've got shades and tones, but you want to bring in a little glitz. Again, this is an artificial leaf. Just a little bit of gold on it. I'm just going to stick it through on the edge like that. Sometimes just a touch of something like that can be really fun. This is also it in a copper color, which again, I just love how you can pick one thing and start adding it, and then it changes the total vibe of the composition. I like them both. And if I was using this, of course, I would cut it up into several sections, and then I would just tickle it in and around. How pretty is that? Actually, you could have used either of these still as a fall composition before you got to Christmas. So one thing I say about myself is that the crow comes out at me in Christmas. I just love all things glittery. I can't help myself. And if you do come to BB Barnes, you've seen the trees we do for the holidays, and they're not short on the glitz. This is one of my very favorite stems. It's an artificial stem, but once again, I just want to show you how you can take something like this. I would cut this up into several pieces. Oh gosh, I look at how that color is so beautiful together. So I could start giving it a whole nother vibe if I wanted with materials like this. I can't help it. I love it. It's beautiful. So I just want to show you that you could still keep a base of fresh, gorgeous plant material and insert bits and pieces of other things that change it to holiday magic. I love this gold ribbon that I showed you. And if I hadn't pushed the other ribbon off the table, I would show you that, but I think I still will reach down and grab it. Hello, little fella. All of a sudden, we're changing from the fall into the holiday season. This is a really fine gold mesh ribbon. I really think it's very elegant. And once again, I wouldn't really make a bow or anything. Sometimes I just like to take some of my ribbon like this and just make a loop. And I'll take a chenille stem, which is just like a pipe cleaner, and I'll twist it. And then I can stick it in there And again, I would not get too overwrought with the ribbon, but I do like inserting a little bit of that ribbon in there, if indeed that's suitable for my decorating for the moment. I hope you're really excited to get out your stuff and start fooling around with it. And I bet a lot of you have tray pieces that you use for the holiday that now you can envision in the middle of this design, creating a really stunning piece. And it's not just, doesn't have to be for a dining table. You could do it on an oversized coffee table where you all gather and do the same thing. It could be on a sideboard. Once again, only limited by your imagination. So as we go on, I can continue showing you how adding things will change the whole style of your wreath.
Cynthia?
Yes, Allison.
Could you, the material to the left of the wreath where the ribbon and all, could you just move that and lift up the wreath so we could kind of see? Yeah, there you go. It's, just want to see the wreath where it is right now. Thank you.
Awesome. And once again, while we've got it up, if I were doing this all the way, I would make sure that I did have some hydrangeas like I have here in the inner rim, as well as paying a lot of attention to that outer edge. The more you play with this, the more things you can think of to put in there. You could do, instead of gourds, you could do real apples, pomegranates. You could even, if let's say if you were really trying to kick it up a notch for a dinner party, get real grapes, those beautiful red grapes, and just have those dripping over the edge. I can't tell you how much I adore doing this project because I'm just continually delighted. Once again, you can see why my nails look like this, girls, no knife here. I love this Vitex. And you know, we sold one last year called Flipside, and I bought 2 of them. Look at that. Ooh, and I love how it stands up. Look how that's giving us height. I bought one last year called Flipside, and it is green, of course, on the outside, but the underside of the leaf is a deep lavender purple. It's just beautiful, especially, I planted both of mine up on a bank so that I can see the underside of the leaf, and it's really stunning. I'm gonna put some more of this. So I consider this a must-have in the garden, just like I do the hydrangeas. Other things that make it feel like holiday are your holiday greens. This is a lovely Chamaecyparis. I got it off the property last night. I'm not sure which one it is, but I love its chartreuse color. And once again, so once you get those holiday greens in there, your mind automatically says, in all of your senses, your olfactory senses say holiday. There's a delightful breeze blowing right now out here at BB Barnes. Feels great. Oh, look how pretty that looks in there. Wow. I had a feeling that putting that in there would add a much needed pop. So if you're putting some plant material like this in, the Chamaecyparis, it's going to stay and look good again, probably for at least a week or 2. And since you're not messing with it, even if it gets a little dry, it's not going to fall apart because it's just laying there looking attractive. And it's so easy to pull it in and out. I hope that you'll never look at your garden the same way again as we finish this seminar, and you find all sorts of interesting things to delight you as you put them in this wreath.
Cynthia?
Yes, Allison.
Somebody asked about adapting this for an outdoor table on a patio, and I suggested that it would be fabulous, especially in cool temperatures. It might even last longer.
You nailed it. Absolutely. That would probably really enhance the longevity of all these greens, and that would be a win-win. Actually, rain wouldn't hurt it either. Even the artificial berries, it would probably be a total rejuvenation if it got some nice rain or morning mist. And again, I also did pick some true red holly. we were talking berries this morning, and I said, you know, for years I would look at the pyracantha and think, oh, I want to use that in an arrangement. And I can't tell you how many times I tried and was brutally injured by that plant. So I gave up on the pyracantha, but here's the holly. Once again, a whole nother texture. As I do this, you know, the Seven Suns tree I'm crazy for. It is pretty pink, but it's so magical. I'm still allowing it. Once again, I might feel the need to, some purple. I just feel a need. And that may not go with your personal at home. But we all see color differently, don't we? And that's what makes life interesting. And so the other thing I like to say about this wreath, there's no right or wrong. It's about what you like, what makes you happy. This is such a great way to express your personal sense of style. And it's fun. And I'll show you another ribbon too, just while we're at it. I probably brutally pushed it off the table too. Here we go. I love this ribbon too. It's a rich sort of cranberry colored. And of course the ribbon just dresses it up instantly. Not necessary, but, oh, I'll show you another thing about this artificial berry. These are wired stems. So if I want this ribbon to stand up and do something for me, I pinch it and I make this little berry do some work. And I twist it around and voila. That was easy. Fascinating how one thing leads to another. What else do I have in my bag of tricks? Well, let me hold this up a little bit for y'all. So again, you can see how it's continuing to transform. Of course, we wouldn't have all this in there together. This is just a visual for you to see how different components totally change the flavor of the piece.
Cynthia?
Yes, Allison.
Do those wreaths come in other sizes?
They do. You know, this is a pretty common size to find this 20-inch one. Not to be an advertisement for Hobby Lobby, but I found the greatest variety of sizes there, depending on your table. The 16-inch is the most common size you'll find. This is about the right size wreath for a door, if you have a larger door. But they can be found in bigger sizes. And I will also say this. Let's say that you've only found a 20-inch wreath, but you have a really big table. Well, you can make the footprint of this wreath as big as you want. Let's say that I took this piece of Magnolia and I made a whole outer ring of Magnolia. I could do that. I could continue and expand this whole wreath by a good 4 to 6 inches simply by doing a border of something like that. And you could, of course, extend it even much longer than that. And these other things would not even have to be inserted into the wreath at this point. They could just be used as an extension of your base to fit the scale of your table. What else do I have in my bag of tricks? That was probably most of the interest of fresh. Again, we used the sedum. Some of my other favored pods that I use, I love the iris pods of the little Japanese iris when you get to those after they first dried. I think they're really stunning. And another thing I like to use in arrangements that I don't know if we all think of are the Japanese anemones, which I have a ton of and I adore this time of the year. After the petals fall off, you're left with those sweet little green centers, and they are charming in and of their own. I don't know that they would wilt or not, but I might group some of those and put them in a water tube too. So as I walked through my garden this morning, I thought, oh my gosh, I could cut this, I could use this. And I hope that you will also feel the same way as you walk through your garden with new eyes. Once again. let's see, one more thing to go in the center while I'm working the holiday vibration. Hi, Santa. There he is. But you know, I would say this, Santa's so white and frosty. If I was going to do Santa, I would back it up a little bit, probably from all this color. Or not, but I might add something that was real frosty. If I had to add one thing to change this right off the bat to make sense of the fact that Santa went in here, it would be that. And all of a sudden, I'm okay. I'm okay with that because I added another element of glitz to it that would accompany that piece. I told our general manager, thanks for letting me do this here, because otherwise I was going to have to drag all this stuff in my Prius and take it somewhere and bring it all back. So it's such a pleasure to be able to have all this great stuff to pick from. And I'm so appreciative of, again, John and Allison's expertise that we could do something like this. So I appreciate the opportunity to get to be here and just feel excited to show you how you can do something like this. All of you can do this. There's not one of you that would not make me proud if you showed me what you did after this demo. And the most important thing to me, I think why I really do enjoy doing this the most, is because I want you to feel excited about it. I want you to really find joy in doing something like this and not feel self-conscious or limited. This is a piece of cake and it's super fun to do. So get out there and root through your gardens, get those treasures out, get that bird's nest off the shelf and stick it in the wreath. And again, blessings to you all for this upcoming season. And I'm so thankful for the opportunity to share this with you.
Thank you, Cynthia. This has just been fabulous, and I'm so grateful for you. And I want to thank John for doing the camera today. I want to thank the Master Gardener Speaker Bureau, Donna Sapp, and all the people that have helped make our season work this year. This is our last Gardening in the Mountains for the year, and we are beginning to plan for 2021. And so we'll be letting you know as those plans unfold. I hope you guys have a great fall, and thank you for joining us today.